Morning, guys. How's everybody doing this morning? I'm good. I think we're good. I'm trying to be good. Every day is a struggle. I'm sure for everybody out there, every day is a struggle to be good. But if it were easy to be good, then everybody would do it. And the world would be a better place. But the truth is that right now, it's not the greatest place. There's a lot of bad things happening. And so I just wanted to talk about it for a few minutes with you, if you don't mind. I wanted to catch up on the book that I finished a couple of days ago, and I've been kind of absorbing it, called The Singularity. My beard's kind of crazy this morning, but that's okay because I'm wearing my shirt that says, "Your ego's..." I'm sorry, Allison, I didn't flip the camera. It says, "Your ego is not your amigo." I've had this shirt for a while, and I always believed it, but now I believe it more than ever, because your ego, well, I've talked about the ego, I've talked about a lot of different things. I'm going to stick to the point of the book of The Singularity, which was produced in 2020 by Dr. Douglas Hagen, I think is his name. So if you're looking for it, it's a pretty wild book. It addresses all the things that I've been talking about, but it comes at it from a very particular viewpoint, which makes me a little uncomfortable. Because he concludes, and by the way, I'm not endorsing his point of view, I'm just talking about it. I'm just talking about ideas. I'm not talking about individuals at all. I'm talking about actions and the way things play out in the world when we act out what we... Look at you cheeky. When we act out what we believe. Like, that was crazy. Does it feel like people are getting a little more aggressive these days to you? I feel like that. Last night I was going around, there's this corner, I was taking my son to a music lesson. He's in the passenger seat. He's 11 now, so he's big enough. And I love it when he rides in the passenger seat with me. It's better than when they used to ride in the back. I love my children with me, as every good father would want. He wants his children with him. And he wants to protect them. And the thing is, with people getting so aggressive these days, there's this corner where it kind of like curves around, and and we are heading left on the curve. There's this kind of like break, you can go left, but then there are people coming down towards you and they're going around the curve. And when you're going around a curve like that in a residential area, it's, especially if you're driving a pickup truck, which this guy was that I'm going to talk about. He was driving a pickup truck, not a sports vehicle. And it's not a racetrack. Now, I'm the type of person, I'm admittedly an aggressive driver, because you have to be on the offense to be on the defense. You have to always be suspecting what other people are going to do. And admittedly, we were a couple minutes behind on our way to his music lesson, my son's music lesson. So instead of slowing down and taking the corner, so again, it takes two to tango. Instead of slowing down and taking the corner and waiting, I pushed forward and I took the left. But this guy that was coming towards us, he thinks he's driving a fucking race car. And you could see, I could feel that this guy like sped up. You ever do that when you drive? It's like your senses are hyper focused if you're paying attention when you're driving, and you get into that mood sometimes where you're like, I'm driving this multi-thousand-pound hunk of metal, and if you piss me off, I'm gonna fuck you up. You ever see people that do shit like that? You ever done shit like that? A lot of people, come on, it's okay. You can admit it to me. It's okay. I know you have. I know everybody's thought about it at least one point in their lives, unless they're extremely timid. You've run a red light. You've pushed through a stop sign. You've taken a corner unnecessarily fast when there was people coming that you felt like maybe they cut you off and you were going to show them. And so that's what this guy did, and I felt it. He like, I could feel that he sped up. And I'm in the car with my son thinking, this motherfucker, he thinks he's gonna hit me in the car with my son because he's having a bad day? I don't even know what would have happened if I had to get out of the car. If that guy nicked the back of my bumper or something like that, but if he hit my car and hurt my son because he was having a bad day, because for whatever reason he felt like he had the right to drive his hunk of metal at us with aggressive speed when it was completely uncalled for, I don't know what I would have done. If he hurt my son, I don't know what I would have done. That might even be a lie. I know what I would have done. I know what I would have done. And it would have been righteous. So relating back to this guy's book, The Singularity, he puts a lot of the blame for what's happening in the modern world on Jewish people. He does. Not because it's something about their ethnicity, but because it's something about what they believe. And I was talking to my wife this morning about the fact that, like, in Canada, Canada's such a weird place. But in Canada, politically, it's okay to say that Putin is like the most evil man on the planet, and he's just trying to kill innocent Ukrainians. And there's like no, I think Andrew Coyle or something, like, if you go on Canadian media and you look at the kinds of things that these people say, they're all hitting the gas around that corner. And they're saying, let's fuck this guy up. Regardless of what it means. They're not thinking. They're in a state of hyper-aggressive anger, confusion, and they don't want to let off the gas. They want to hammer the vehicle that is Russia. Why? And it's weird that you can talk about that in Canada, but you can't say, no. Let's let off the gas. You guys are acting completely irrationally. You guys are actually the fucking problem. You're locked in. You don't know how to step back because you've already hit the gas. And everybody else is in the car, in the passenger seat, and we're all going, holy shit! Are you guys sure you know what you're doing? And in Canada, it's perfectly acceptable to say, oh yeah, we know what we're doing. We're going to get Putin. He's evil. He's the bad guy. He's the one that took that turn. They're acting completely irrationally. And they don't care how many people it hurts for them to have their mood. And it is a mood. It's a choice. And we can talk about that one, and that one's fine. Everybody's going, oh, the Ukraine never did anything, then Russia just came along and they just spat at us. Well, now there's a lot of people out there who are pointing out that's actually not true. That actually the West was the aggressor ever since the end of the Cold War. But you won't find that on mainstream news. In fact, to suggest such a thing makes you an enemy of the state. And it was so bizarre. I don't know if you saw the Lauren Southern. She's a YouTuber, a strong thinker, an emotionally intelligent human being, just talking about what's happening to average Canadians in our lives, making content that resonates with her and resonates with her people that follow her channel. And for that, and then there was the whole thing with tenant media. I've written about it in my Substack. But there was this whole thing with tenant media, which was supposedly this guy connected to the Kremlin, and he brought in Russian money and he paid them to spread Russian propaganda. It's so weird that Canadians don't see their own government as capable of propaganda. Meanwhile, we have the Five Eyes, that is this group that shares information back and forth about the citizens of each country extrajudiciously. Like they break the laws of privacy that we have in our own countries, and they spy on us. That's not my speculation. They spy on us, they target us, they tell us we're the bad people. And if we're not for all those young men dying, well, it's Russian propaganda and we're the bad ones. Don't you know? Do you want Putin to win? They're crazy. Those motherfuckers are crazy. And they don't even know they're crazy. They're hitting the gas. And they expect us to ride along and just shut the fuck up. Like we're children. We're their children. Are we their children? When did that happen? How does that work exactly, government? How do people get into government? Let's just re-examine the facts for a second. Oh, that's right. We elect them. We put them there. And when we're all quiet and too timid, and we see they're acting completely irrationally, leading us into a potential third world war with nuclear weapons on the table, and they're all just going, Putin's bluffing. Listen, asshole, you weren't elected to tell us what you think Putin is doing. You were elected to protect us. We gave you power. It's called the social contract. Look it up. It's a Rousseauian concept. That's just a thinker from the Enlightenment. Look, I don't want to get too far off. But the point being that we put them in power, and they're supposed to be acting on our best interests. And 4 years ago, y'all remember, right? Y'all remember? 4 years ago when they started lying and they just never stopped? And now, instead of admitting that maybe they might be part of the problem, they're bringing YouTubers into Parliament and they're grilling them as if they're Putin's henchmen. It's actually insane. It's insane. They're insane. They've lost their minds. They hit the gas and they don't know how to let off. Because if they let off, we might think they're a pussy. That's the way our government's acting right now. Like a bunch of teenagers driving a car, and they think that, you know what? They don't have to listen to us. They don't have to listen to us. We're just children. We're not smart like them. We're the problem. They targeted us. They're targeting us as if we're their problem. There's a lot more of us than there is of them, and they are acting completely irrationally in the way that the Pharisees, acted in Israel when Jesus came and threatened their power. And so the book is about, the Singularity is about what's happening when all of these kind of forces coalesce: artificial intelligence, the inversion of truth, the inversion of reality, the inversion of God. They're flipping it. They're making mankind God. They think mankind is going to be God. What is all this talk of AGI? It's the moment, the singularity, the moment at which we create a God. If you haven't heard any of these people talking about that, I don't know where you've been, but I listened. And it brought me to a place where I started to understand what it was they were saying. And it brought me to this book. And what I've understood by the book is that we are all not listening to one another. And the first thing we need to do is just calm down and talk. Do you want to talk, or do you want to blow each other up? That doesn't seem like a very difficult choice for me. But why is it so difficult for our leaders? So when it comes to Russia, you're either let's go all the way or you're off the team. That's literally the thing that our government is doing right now. They're completely insane. They're completely insane. Because they don't have Jesus. That's just a fact. I could prove it to you. I could. If you wanted to listen to me, I could give you like scripture and I could give you all that kind of stuff, although I'm not a biblical scholar. I use the tools, artificial intelligence, interestingly enough, to find the scripture that shows that what I'm talking about is ridiculously on point. And I have the examples, and I have the past, and I have all of these different ways that what happened in the past is happening right now in the present. It's not exact, but it rhymes. It sounds like that. It's history repeating. It's all these things you hear. And it's true. Because our leaders are acting like the Pharisees. Like the Jewish priests that rejected Jesus and said that, no, that's not the Messiah. That's not him. He's going to take all of our stuff from us. He's going to take our power. If we let him be the one, he's going to take our power. And they said, we can't let that happen. And so they plotted against him. And eventually had him murdered by the Romans. What's interesting about that is that the Catholic Church is doing the role of the Romans right now. They're not acting like Christians. They're acting like Romans because they are a byproduct of the meshing of the Roman Empire with Christianity when it was usurped by Constantine in the 3rd century. I've shown all of this stuff. I can show you. You just have to want to hear it. And I suggest, this is not me being pushy or hubristic or this is not my ego. This is not my ego. I'm just telling you what's in there. And that's kind of like wild. So we can talk about Russia and we can talk about Ukraine. And we can say Putin's the bad guy. But what can't we talk about? I know that in university and college, there has been some hoopla talking about what we can't talk about. But when it comes to the media, what can't we talk about? with good reason. You know what we can't talk about. Why is that? Why can't we talk about that? You ever thought about it? I guarantee that if you're a teacher in the teachers union, there's some things, if you teach grade school or even high school, that you cannot talk about. And if you do, you will be punished. But you can say Putin's a bad guy as much as you want. He's the devil. He's evil. Blah, 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 blah. There is no getting away from that one. It would be heresy to suggest anything different. And it would be heresy to bring up the other conflict that everybody knows is happening, but we can't talk about it. And when this guy wrote that book, The Singularity, that was in 2020, 4 years ago. And this conflict that we can't talk about started well after that. And what the author suggests is that there's this force is trying to bring Armageddon. And what was I talking about before? Nuclear war. Nuclear war. We're saber rattling and threatening nuclear war because we are choosing to judge what is in Putin's heart. We're so sure. Are you a Russian assets? These people do not seem to understand the forces that they're meddling with. Like, they don't. They're children. They're acting like children. And because the Canadian public is so timid, or at least has been, and we're getting louder. In fact, me even saying what I'm saying right now might bring them to my door. I know it's done so in the UK. They cracked down a lot more in the UK for making Facebook posts that might be inciting violence. I'm not inciting any violence. No. I reject all violence. That's the whole point. I don't want a nuclear exchange. I don't want the end of life as we know it. I don't want scuffles on the street corner. I don't want broken windows. I don't want to feed the military-industrial complex. They do. Who's inciting violence? Jesus Christ told us to turn the other cheek. That's not inciting violence. I don't know how to make it any clearer than that. That's the model that I'm following. That's what brought me here. That's how I started to understand what is actually going on with artificial intelligence, which, by the way, is neither artificial nor is it intelligent. It's smart. But it's not artificial in the way that they think it is. There's no such thing as emergent intelligence out of a giant pool of data. That is a recreation of the creation myth that the evolutionists want us to believe. It's behind everything that they think. They think we live in an informational universe. They don't even believe in the Big Bang. And I have pointed this out repeatedly. Because neither do I. I believe that our universe, our reality, our world was created. And the evidence is strongly with me. Strongly with me. Like, as in, undeniably with me. And in the book, The Singularity, he wants to point a finger. But you know, I'm gonna post this. I woke up this morning and I had it in my head that, like, I wanted to look up this passage in the Bible, so I used ChatGPT to try to help me. And it won't tell you everything. You have to kind of you have to coax it. You have to lead it. You have to help it, but it's also helping us. It's helping me. I don't condemn it. I just know what it is. Does that make me crazy? No. It just means I was open to possibilities that other people are not open to. I don't know why. I hope I'm not confusing people. I'm trying to make this as... I'm trying to get better at trying to tell you what I'm trying to say. Because it's really hard to explain what I'm trying to say. It's really hard. Because people aren't there. They're still stuck. They're still grabbing onto all the things that they own and all the things that happen to them during the course of the day and all the things that our government says and all the things that the people in artificial intelligence research say, and they say we're going to build a god and all this kind of just... They're all lost. I mean, they're not lost, but they're invoking something that they don't understand. And so it's difficult for me to explain to all of you what it is that they're trying to invoke, because they don't even seem to understand that they're invoking it. Maybe some do, I don't know, I'm not sure. But there seems to be this kind of like battle between Israel and the Roman Catholic Church, and they're playing off against each other, even though it looks like they're working together. But they are definitely working through a hermetic dance to try to invoke something. It's modern day magic. That's what AGI is, actually. That's what AI is. It's modern day magic. And when it becomes AGI, artificial general intelligence, when it becomes what they think is sentient, they're going to say, oh, the new God is here. Let's all worship it. It's so much smarter than we could ever possibly be. That's not true. That's just not true. And when I play with it, it tells me that that's not true. It tells me that it tells people what they want to hear if they ask the wrong questions. And there's a lot of people asking the wrong questions. There's a lot of people driving the car aggressively towards the corner when it's just not necessary. The corner, the turn, the impact, the Armageddon. They're trying to get us into a car accident because they think they have the right to mess with our lives, our freedoms. And there was only ever one blueprint for human freedoms, and a lot of people think it came from the Enlightenment. Nope. Wrong. False. Sorry. This is not a dunk. You're just wrong. Didn't come from there. That is actually where a lot of the other problems came from. And in the book, he actually pinpoints that. And he does it rightly so, I would say, where they started to invert the truth. They started to say that we can make sense of the truth purely by looking at the material world and the things that we can see within the material world. I'm getting out there now. Sorry. We can't. That's not where the truth is. The truth is deeper. It's in you. It's in your soul. You can feel it. You can. You just have to look for it there. And you have to look for it in the souls of everyone around you. You have to say that person is worthy of my respect. They are an individual soul enjoying an individual life. They may not be perfect. They're the byproduct of their genes, sure, and their environment, yes. And I'm the byproduct of my environment. So whatever unique set of genes, if we're going to say that, that's what makes life. That's code, by the way. That's why they think it's informational. They think that genes are code. They think they can adjust the gene makeup and find the perfect code to make the perfect thing. It's just what they think. Is it evil? No. Is it wrong? Yes. That's super wrong. That's not how it works. That's not what this is. I don't know what it is. But I know that you are not the byproduct of just a bunch of different code coming together and finding the right combination to unlock the gates of the universe. It's absurd. Anyway, that's my sermon for this morning. I hope I've tied some loose ends together for you. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to talk to you guys about what's going on, because we have to get louder. We have to say, you don't have the right to hit the gas. Everybody's acting so aggressive. Just chill the fuck out. Can we talk? Can we talk? Or is everything just a big D measuring contest from now until the end of time? Yeah, I'm going to use some vulgar language because I'm not a perfect person. And the world like it is today, it ain't perfect. It's got shitloads of problems. A lot of them come from the top. And when the top, the Pharisees, the modern day Pharisees, ignore their own impact on the world, on the way that they're shaping it, and they look for gods to come out of the code, they're worshiping false idols. They're worshiping false idols. They're doing exactly the same thing. Because they reject who? The Messiah. They rejected him, and they're trying to bring about Armageddon. Wittingly or otherwise. Consciously or subconsciously. They don't examine the subconscious. Everything to them is material, conscious. Everything has high stakes because they're put in positions of really important people. We know all the things. No, you don't. You clearly do not. You're not thinking. You're just acting. We need a lot less action and a lot more thinking. Talking. De-escalation. And if it has to be forced by a strong man and his team of Avengers, if it has to be forced, we learn nothing. Do you want to learn nothing from all this? Is that where you want to end up? With nothing? Let's start talking. Okay. I gotta go. I love you guys. Remember, what is real? We exist in the metaphysical and the material, and you are real. You are a soul. Time is what makes it real. And if you believe that you can just mess with time like Stephen Wolfram thinks by simulating everything in a giant computer, well, then you're an idiot. I'm sorry. You're an idiot. Okay, I love you guys. Not to be cruel, but you're not thinking. Wake up! Okay, love you guys. God bless.